Good morning children, Sairam and welcome again. So in previous video you all have learned Geography second chapter Inside Our Earth part 1. So in this video we will continue with this chapter. Okay, but before moving further, let's take a quick recap what you have learned in the previous video. So children, as you all know, our earth is constantly undergoing changes, right? So it is impossible to obtain information regarding the interior of the earth. Why it is impossible? Yes, as temperature are very high. Basically nobody can travel deep inside the earth, right? So the scientists have taken the help of the earthquakes to determine the structure of the earth. So from the information obtained, scientists divide the earth into three concentric layers of varying thickness known as the crust, the mantle, the core, right? So the first layer is the crust. This is the outermost layer of the earth. Oceanic crust and the continental crust. Oceanic crust is known as the SIMA, S-I-M-A. S-I stand for silica and M-A stand for magnesium. Next is the continental crust, is known as SALE. Si stand for silica and Al stand for aluminum. Last one is, it is about 8 to 35 kilometer thick. Second layer is the mantle. This is the second layer of the earth just below the crust. Second is, it is about 2900 kilometer thick. It is made up of silica, magnesium and iron. Now the third layer of the earth is core. This is the innermost layer of the earth. Now this core is divided into two. First is the outer layer and the second one is the inner layer. It is about 3500 kilometer thick and it is called NIF. Ni stand for nickel and Fa stand for ferrous, that is iron. Clear? So this is all about the important layers of the earth. Okay. Now let's see. These are the topic which we will cover in this video. First is the rock. Second is mineral and ores, types of rocks, rock cycle, and at last question answer related to your topic. Okay, so the first topic is rocks. What are rocks? Children, as you all know, lithosphere is made up of rocks. Lithos in Greek means rock. Lithosphere is made up of rocks. The earth crust is made up of various types of rocks. Any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the earth is called the rock. Or we can say that all the solid material on the earth crust, whether hard or soft, that make up the earth crust. Rocks are hard material like the marble as well as the soft material like the clay. Basically, rocks are generally solid mass, but it also include loose materials such as sand and silt. In fact, we can say that everything that forms the lithosphere of the earth is called the rock. Is it clear? Now, rocks do not have definite chemical composition. Second thing is they are made up of one or more minerals. They are different composition, size, color and texture. Is it clear? So what are rocks? All the solid material on the earth crust, whether hard and soft, that make up the earth crust. Now the second thing is minerals. Minerals, as you all know, rocks are made up of minerals. So minerals, a solid, natural occurring substance. Minerals are naturally occurring chemical compounds. Okay, now they have a definite chemical composition and they also provide us metals and chemicals. So, the diamond is the hardest known mineral and some edible substances like rock, salt are also minerals. Clear? Okay. Now the next one is the metals and ores. So as you all know, minerals are a great economic value. and form on the basis of modern development. It is divided into two. First one is the metallic mineral, and the second one is the non-metallic mineral. Clear? So metallic mineral, basically these are the metallic and found in igneous and metamorphic rock. For example, gold, copper, zinc, these are the example of the metallic mineral. Now the non-metallic minerals, basically these are associated with the sedimentary rocks. For example, sulfur, coal, petroleum, etc. and etc. These are the example of non-metallic mineral. Clear? Okay. Now let's understand ores. Some rocks contain useful minerals from which metals like iron, copper, gold can be extracted. Or in simple word, we can say that minerals containing rocks. A rock in which a particular mineral is found in a large percentage, it's called ores, right? Ores means a rock in which a particular mineral found in a large percentage, it's called the ores. So these minerals are called ores. Rocks like marble, granite, basalt and sandstone are good building material. So is it clear what are rocks, minerals and ores? So rocks are all these solid materials on the earth's surface, whether hard and soft, that make up the earth crust. Second thing is mineral. Mineral are solid natural occurring substance which occur in rocks. And the third one is the ore, a rock in which a particular mineral found in large percentage. Is it clear? Okay. Now the next one is the types of rocks. So based on how they were formed, the rocks are classified into three types. So basically on the formation of the rocks are divided into three types. First one is the igneous rocks. Second one is the sedimentary rocks. And the third one is the metamorphic rock. Is it clear? How many types? There are three types of rocks. First one is the igneous rock, second one is the sedimentary rock, and the third one is the metamorphic rock. Now let's learn about the types of rock one by one. But before that, let's understand the word origin. So the igneous word originated from the Latin word ignis, meaning fire. Clear? Second word is the sedimentary. This word is originated from the Latin word sedimenter, meaning settle down. And the third one is the metamorphic. Metamorphic word is derived from the Greek word metamorphosis, meaning change of form. Clear? Igneous was derived from the Latin word which means fire. Sedimentary word is also derived from the Latin word which means settle down. And the metamorphic word is derived from the Greek word which means change of form. Clear? Okay. Now let's understand about the igneous rock. So deep below the earth's surface, rocks are in a molten state called magma. So in previous video, we already discussed about the magma and the lava. So children, as you all know, the temperature at the core being extremely high. So the matter present there is in the molten state called magma. Now the red molten magma coming out from the interior of the earth through the volcanoes known as lava. So when magma cools and solidifies, it forms a very hard rocks. When magma cools and solidifies, it forms a very hard rock known as the igneous rock. Basically, this type of rocks are formed by cooling of molten magma on the earth's surface or inside the earth. It's called the igneous rock. Now, much of the earth crust is made up of igneous rock. Now, the most important characteristics of igneous rocks are also called primary rock. Why igneous rocks are called primary rock? Because other types of rock, that means sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. These rocks are formed from this, that means igneous rock. Other types of rocks are formed from the igneous rock. That's why igneous rocks are called the primary rock. Now, there are two types of igneous rock, right? First one is the intrusive and the second one is the extrusive. Intrusive rocks, basically rocks that formed inside the earth. Clear? Intrusive rocks, that means the rocks that formed inside the earth, are called the intrusive rocks, and extrusive rocks means the rocks that formed on the earth surface. Okay, let's understand one by one. First one is the intrusive igneous rock. First, just look at this diagram. Intrusive igneous rock formation. So as I said, intrusive igneous rock formed inside the earth surface. Sometimes, basically, the molten magma cools down deep inside the earth crust. So rocks formed in such a manner, in such a way, it's called the intrusive igneous rock. Since cooled down slowly, so they form large grains inside it. And granite is an example of such a rock. Grinding stones used to be repair paste, powder of spices, and grains are made up of granite. Is it clear how intrusive igneous rocks are formed? Basically, sometimes molten magma that cools down deep inside the earth, and they just formed intrusive igneous rock. Okay, now the next one is the extrusive igneous rocks. Children, can you imagine how lava coming out through the volcanoes? So, as you all know, lava is actually a very red molten magma that coming out from the interior of the earth through the volcanoes. So, when this molten lava comes on the earth's surface, it's rapidly cooled down and became solidified. So, rocks formed in such a way, it's called the extrusive igneous rock. They have a very fine grains structure. For example, basalt. Basalt is an example of extrusive igneous rock. And Deccan Plateau is made up of basalt rock. Clear? Okay, just look at this diagram. Actually, both the diagram are same. So first understand intrusive igneous rocks. So how intrusive igneous rocks formed? When the molten magma cooled down deep inside the earth, so they just form intrusive igneous rock. And when the magma that coming out from the interior of the earth on the earth's surface through the volcanoes, then it's cooled down and solidified, they just form extrusive igneous rock. Clear? Intrusive igneous rocks formed inside the earth and extrusive igneous rocks formed on the earth surface. Clear? Okay. Now the next type of rock is a sedimentary rock. So first understand sediments and the sedimentary rocks. Running water and moving ice carry small particles of rock, and the rock's particles are deposited on land or on the bed of the ocean. So they are called the sediments. So sediments means basically, as you all know, rocks is constantly broken down into a smaller fragments. Smaller fragment, that means smaller particles. Now these smaller particles that carried by the ice, water, wind and deposit on the land or on the seabed. So they are called the sediments. Now sediments are deposited in the layers, and the second thing is sedimentary rocks basically formed under the water. Now the sediments harden over the years, then compressed and cementing together form a different layers of the rock. It's called the sedimentary rocks. So when the layers are formed under the water, so the weight of water also helps in hardening. Rocks formed by the deposition and hardening of the layers of sediments are called the sedimentary rock. And such rocks are usually made up of layer of different composition. Now the chief characteristics of sedimentary rock. First, it is softer than the igneous rock. Second, it is contain fossils of plants and animals between layers or the rocks. Third, these rocks constitute 70% all rocks found on the earth's surface. And it is interesting to note that all fossil fuels, that means the coal and petroleum, are found trapped in the layers of these rocks. So coal is a sedimentary rocks, but unlike the other sedimentary rocks, the coal we see today was formed by the remains of organisms, mainly plants buried with other sediments, millions of years ago. The high pressure and temperature under the Earth's surface converted these remains into carbon, which is the main constituent of coal. And the second is the petroleum. Petroleum occurs in sedimentary rock. Petroleum has been formed by the decay of the plant and animals' remains that were buried with sediments millions of years ago. So the remains of animals and plants trapped within the layers of the rocks are called fossils, right? Fossils means the remains of animals and plants trapped within the layers of the rocks are called the fossils. So hence petroleum and coal are called the fossil fuels. Clear? Okay, now just move on to the next one is the metamorphic rock. So as you all know, metamorphic word is derived from the Greek word metamorphosis, means change of form. So how the metamorphic rock form? When the igneous and sedimentary rocks change their form under the high pressure and temperature, so such changed rock are known as metamorphic rock. Now these rocks are very hard. This is the first characteristics of metamorphic rocks. So metamorphic rocks are very hard and take a long time to its formation. These rocks are harder than the others and have a high specific gravity. So here are the examples of the metamorphic rocks are. First one is the marble formed from limestone. Second one is the slate formed from the shale. So these are the types of rocks. First one is the igneous rock, second one is the sedimentary rocks, and the third one is the metamorphic rock. Clear? Okay, now just move on to the next rock cycle. Children, you will be surprised to know that how one type of rock changed to another type of rock in a certain condition and in a cyclical manner. So this process of transformation of the rock from one to another under the certain condition in a cyclical manner, it is known as rock cycle. Okay, let's understand the process of the rock cycle. Okay, just look at this diagram. So how this process is going on? Actually, this process is continuously going on. When the molten magma cools, and solidified, so it's formed igneous rock. Clear? When the magma cool and solidify, it form igneous rock. Now these igneous rocks are broken down into the smaller particles, and these smaller particles and fragments are called sediments, right? Now these sediments transported and deposited to form sedimentary rocks. So when the igneous rock and sedimentary rocks are subjected to heat and pressure, so they changed into the metamorphic rock. So extremely heat will lead the melting of rocks and forming new magma inside the earth. And this magma again cool and solidify to form igneous rock. So the entire process is called the rock cycle, and this process is continuously going on. Is it clear? Okay. Now the uses of rocks. So basically there are many. First, the hard rocks are used for making roads, houses and building and so on. Stones are also used in many games. For example, 7 stone pittu. I think you all have played hopscotch, Stapu Kit, and 5 stones Gitti. Rocks are also used making monuments. Example, Taj Mahal, and the next one is the Red Fort. So Red Fort is made up of red sandstone and the Taj Mahal is made up of white marble. Is it clear? So this is all about your chapter. Now just move on to the question answer. Clear? Now the first question is, what are the three layers of the earth? So in previous video we already discussed about the layers of the earth. So there are three layers of the earth: crust, the mantle and the core. Right. Now the next question is, what is a rock? So what is a rock? Any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the earth crust is called a rock. Yeah, all the solid materials on the earth crust, whether hard or soft, that make up the earth crust. Now the third question is, name the three types of rocks. So basically there are three types of rock on the First one is the igneous rock, and the second one is the sedimentary rock, and the third one is the metamorphic rock. So on the basis of formation there are three types of rock: igneous rock, sedimentary rock and the metamorphic rock. Now the next question is, how are extrusive and intrusive rocks formed? Right? So first, extrusive rocks. Extrusive rocks are formed by the molten lava which comes on the earth's surface and rapidly cools down to become solid. So they just form extrusive rocks. When the molten magma cools down deep inside the earth crust, then the solid rocks so formed are called the intrusive rocks. So in simple word, we can say that intrusive rocks basically formed inside the earth and extrusive rocks formed on the earth surface. Here, now your chapter is finished. This you have to do in your rough notebook, and whatever work I gave you in previous video or in this video, you have to do only in a rough notebook, not in fair notebook. Is it clear, students? Okay. Thank you and have a nice day.